Hello all you English learners out there. This is lesson number 29, and in this lesson we are going to look at adverbs of manner. So as you know, adverbs in English are oftentimes placed after the main verb or object in a sentence. Today we are going to be looking at some of the examples of adverbs, and then we're also going to learn the conditionals. Okay? Now, in English we have several conditionals. We have about a total of 5 conditionals, but today we're only going to learn 2. The first 2 that we're going to learn are called the zero conditional and the first conditional. Okay? So let's go ahead and jump right into the lesson. We're going to now look at adverbs. Okay, so let's go ahead and review some of these sentences and you'll see how we can use adverbs. Number 1, he runs quickly, right? He runs quickly. Okay, and as you remember in the previous lesson, quickly is synonymous with another word, which is fast, right? So you can say he runs fast. Okay, or he runs quickly. Notice that we have ly right here. Ly. He runs quickly. Okay, so we need an ly right here. Instead of quick, we have to say quickly. And notice how it comes after the main verb. The main verb right here is runs, third person singular with an s at the end. He runs, coming from the verb to run. All right, now we have quickly here, but here we have the opposite, which is slowly, okay? Meaning you take a long time to do something, right? In this case, you don't take a long time to do something, but here you do. She talks slowly, okay? So quickly and fast is like, right? But slowly is like a turtle, okay? Or like a snail. You take your time to do something. She talks slowly. Okay. Notice here we also have an ly. Okay. Now, can we have an ly on fast? Fastly? No, we do not say that. Okay. We only say fast. Okay. The boy screams loudly. Okay. So the boy screams loudly. Loudly means very strong, high pitch, very loud. The boy screams loudly. Okay, screams comes from the verb to scream, which is oftentimes what little kids do. They scream when they play, they scream when they're unhappy. Okay, so the boy screams loudly. And the opposite of loudly is softly. It says the girl sings softly. Okay, at a low-pitched voice, a very soft voice. The girl sings softly. The millionaire generously donated his money. The millionaire generously donated his money. A millionaire is a person who has more than $1 million or $1 million of a currency, like €1 million, €1 million pesos, $1 million yuan, right? So the millionaire generously, okay, coming from the word generous, which is an adjective, generous. Whoops, I need an R right here. My bad. I'm sorry, you guys. Generous. For example, you could say he is generous. She is generous. You understand? So the millionaire generously donated his money. Okay, generously is like when you give to other people that don't have. For example, if you have a lot of money and somebody right over here does not have a lot of money and you give them $5, $10 or however much money, you generously give them that amount of money. Okay, it's like you give something to somebody else that they don't have but that they need. All right, the opposite of generous is greedy. Coming from, so here we have greedily, which is an adverb. Greedy is an adjective. You could say he is greedy, she is greedy. The dictator, okay, which is somebody who has complete control over a country. The dictator greedily stole all their land. Okay, the dictator greedily stole all their land. Greedily is meaning, it's like when you keep on taking. Even though you have a lot, you take, and you take here, and you take from here, and you take everything you want. Okay, that's greedy. You want more and more and more and more, even though you already have a lot. So greedy. Okay, the dictator greedily stole all their land. Generous and greedy are the opposite. Next we have, we waited patiently in the hall. Okay, patiently is an adverb which comes from the word patient. Okay, patient can also be a noun which describes a person who is in the hospital, okay, who is very sick, and so they are in the hospital. They are known as a patient. Okay, for example, you have a grandpa who is in the hospital. Your grandpa is in the hospital. He is a patient in the hospital. Okay, but patient is not just a noun. It is also an adjective. Okay, you can describe somebody as being patient. My grandpa is a patient in the hospital. He has been in the hospital for 10 days. He is very patient. Okay, meaning you can take a long, you don't mind waiting a long time for something to be accomplished. Okay, so you basically, you have all the time in the world and you can wait. Okay, it's not a problem for you. We waited patiently in the hall. Okay, we waited patiently in the hall. Okay, meaning you can wait and it doesn't bother you that it's taking so long. Okay, or however long it's taking, it's not a problem because you're a very patient person and you are waiting patiently. And then finally we have, they looked at me happily. Okay, happily comes from the word happy, of course, happy, which means you feel good, you feel positive. They looked at me happily. So normally when somebody looks at you happily, it means that they smile at you. So somebody looked at somebody else, right? And they smiled. Okay, so they looked at me happily. Like there's positive feelings there. All right, guys, so all these are adverbs, and just I want you to notice that adverbs normally go behind the verb. So here we have a verb after we have an adverb. Here we have a verb after we have an adverb. Here we have a verb to scream after we have an adverb. Here we have a verb to sing after we have an adverb. Okay? But when the adverb comes before the verb, it more or less adds emphasis or style to the way that somebody is speaking. Okay? But don't worry, it means the same thing. However, I would say that most people say the adverb after the verb. So like this. This is more normal. But then you have cases like this. The millionaire generously donated. So donated is the verb here, and it comes from the verb to donate. And before the verb you have the adverb, which is generously. Okay. Now notice that these ones are a little bit longer. So normally when a sentence is a little bit longer, it comes before. Okay, the dictator greedily stole comes before all their land. But you can also make it come after. It's not a problem. The millionaire donated his money generously. The dictator stole all their land greedily. Okay, so you can say things like that too. You decide where to put the adverb, okay? All right, guys, now let's move on to the conditionals right here, the conditional tenses. All right, in this lesson, we're going to learn two of them. Now, in English, all conditional sentences talk about a result that is dependent on a condition. The sentences, therefore, have two parts or clauses. In English, we use the word if, okay, to more or less determine the condition of the first clause and the result, which depends on the condition, in the other clause. Okay, so the zero conditional here is basically, it just says that if this happens, then that happens. Okay, so if this happens, then that happens. All right, we're talking about a fact here. okay, facts or what happens in nature, okay, a reality, a certain reality. The first conditional right here basically just says that if something happens, then something else will happen too. Okay, so if this happens, then this is also going to happen. Okay, that will also happen. So let's go ahead and look at some examples starting with the zero conditional. Okay, so remember, if plus present simple, and then you get present simple again. If you freeze water, it turns solid. For example, solid, that's solid, okay? Soft is like, I have here a napkin. Like a napkin is soft, okay? A pillow is soft, okay? Things that are soft is like a bed, a blanket. If you heat ice, it melts, okay? So if you heat ice, ice is very cold, heat is hot, it melts, okay? It turns into water. If you heat water, it boils, okay? If you make the water very, very hot, it will boil, you know, you have bubbles and it goes up into steam. If you mix blue and yellow, it turns into green. So you have blue paint and then you have yellow paint, and if you mix the two, you get green paint. Okay, so basically guys, that's the zero conditional. Now let's go ahead and we're going to look at the first conditional here. So are you ready? If plus the present simple, and then you get the future simple. Okay, you will do this. You will do that. If it rains, I will stay at home. If it rains, I will stay at home. If you are late, I will be mad. Okay, mad is the opposite of happy. If you are late, I will be mad. If the teacher is sick, he will be absent. Okay, if the teacher is sick, okay, so sick is like you're coughing or you're sneezing. Achoo. Okay, if the teacher is sick, he will be absent. Absent means you do not go to school. Okay, you're not present. You're at home, you're sick. And finally, guys, if I win the lottery, I will buy a mansion. A mansion is a very, very, very big house. Okay? If I win the lottery, I will buy a mansion. So guys, as you can see, the first conditional indicates that something is going to happen in the future if something else happens. So guys, that's it for this lesson on conditionals, the zero conditional here and the first conditional, and talking about adverbs. So just remember that adverbs can come after the verb, which is what happens in most cases, but sometimes they can come before as well. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson. This was lesson number 29, and I will see you next time in lesson number 30. See you. Bye.